Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, man. Welcome back to the podcast. We back. We had to give it back to y'all, man. We had to run it back again because the last day it was cold as hell outside, man. I don't think my camera was even working right. But in this video, we got another podcast for y'all. So in this podcast, we're gonna talk about how we're making that transition from being an athlete to becoming an entrepreneur, because we know that transition can be difficult. When you make that transition from being an athlete to trying to carve out yourself and what you want to do in life, the athletic road isn't always going to be the means of you making money. And it might not be all the things that you want to be able to do. So it's difficult when you start to try to carve out yourself and make that transition from being an athlete to getting into what you want to do. So we want to break down a few different things to help you be able to make that transition and key things to focus on. So in the last video, talked about natural skills and basically the development of the natural you. Developing your natural skills is important because this is the foundation, which basically, you know, spreads itself into everything else that you do. So nutrition is important. Your health, in your daily routines. What is it that you do in your daily routines? And if you are making a transition to a different environment, or you just went through something that changed your environment, you have to find outlets in order to be able to continue to do those same things that you've been doing, but just in a different environment. It's important to be able to have those outlets to what you're doing. Man, listen, man, as an entrepreneur, when you get into the roles and the ups and downs and the shit that you get into and the shit that you got to go through, man, you just got to be able to be flexible and be able to get what you need to be done, do what you need to do, and express what you need to express under any circumstances. So that's the point on that. But what I wanted to really point out too is um especially when you take a loss. If it's someone who took a loss or something like that, um, maybe you took that loss, or maybe it didn't work out the way that you thought it would work out, because you know what I'm saying, you got something better, something else is in the works for you, and you got something better going on. So understand that if it's someone who took a loss, or you know what I'm saying, not everything is always for you. So just remember, just be patient, because you got something else in the works and something else that's going on. So that leads me to my next point in becoming more educated, which is something I had to do myself as well. The more you become educated on your environment and the things that are going on around you, the things that are going on in Africa, I guess, for example, things that are going, you know what I'm saying, becoming more aware of certain things, the less you can be contained and confound to. As I said in my last video, I always say this: the less information that you have, the more susceptible you are to someone who does have that information. Us as athletes, a lot of times, man, what are our outlets and what are our careers that we really want to get into? It's gonna be art. It's gonna be art, right? It's gonna be some of the things that we've already been doing, because a lot of times, like a lot of these other people, they get into other fields and stuff, and us as athletes, when we get into our field, we really don't have that connection to the business side or learning the business side. So it's like, what are the other outlets that we're gonna get into to try to make a living off of, or a career out of? It's gonna be something like art or something. So my thing is about art and the things that our careers, right? As a black person or as an African, our livelihood and our day to days and what we do doesn't tie into um, economics in a general way. What are ways that we can uh, make money off of the natural things that we've already do, because as an athlete, you spent your whole time from about 12 years old, younger, or whatever, carving yourself out to go on this one route of basketball or football or whatever it is that you do. And then you hit to a point to where now you got to change that whole field into something completely else. And it's like, well, how the hell am I going to make this transition from being a basketball player or a football player to doing something completely else? And that transition is, it's not logical as an athlete. It's how do we take what we're doing and how do we take um, us as an athlete and get to a position to where we're carving out a career for ourselves. And I think that's going to be the hardest, or one of the hardest points and transitions to make, especially as us as Black people. It's a matter of it's a matter of being more calculative. I can say about having a vision is when you have a vision for something, right, and you have a dream about doing something, it's important when you have that vision or dream to keep it as common sense and sensible as you can to how the dream or the vision came about you. I'm saying this from experience. So, like, if it's someone who has a vision about something and you have a certain thing that you want to do, whatever it is, and you just got this vision of doing something, my thing is to not try to put your own input on it. Don't try to dim it down. Don't try to don't try to diminish it, and just keep it and leave it the vision as it is. Because a lot of times when we have visions and we have certain ways that we want to do it our own way, and we want to start seeing how we can manifest that. But the important thing to do when you have a vision like that is to be able to be patient and let the vision manifest itself. Because a lot of times when we have these visions, this is something else that's running through us. It's not us actually. It's not actually us giving that vision. This isn't our vision. This is something else's vision that's running through us. So my big point for people who have a vision about something is, from experience, is to leave the vision as it is and don't try to change it or manipulate it, or, you know what I'm saying, anything like that. Yeah, man, take care of yourselves, man. Keep doing the things that you need to do in order to remain yourself and keep your brain functioning right. Like, a lot of times, man, when we get caught up in the business, like, it's easy to get caught up in a realm to where it's like you're not feeding your brain all the creativity it needs in order to function properly. Sometimes we feed it. Sometimes we get too caught up in that dry space of business, I guess, or whatever it is that, you know what I'm saying, the boring space. And when you don't pour into that creativity that you have, that's going to diminish your. I always say that creativity is the most powerful weapon um, that you can have within your mind. Um, I say that because so much energy comes with it. The desire to bring about something new, something fresh. So when you get into this entrepreneurial realm and start going down these dry places and stuff, my other thing to y'all would be to my other thing to y'all would be to keep your mind creative. Take time to really try to rejuvenate that creative mind and them creative juices, because that comes with a different type of energy. I hope y'all doing good though, man. I hope y'all doing good, man. Like, it's making that transition, man. Like, that's what this is. My journey and experience of being an athlete making that transition. If you listen to the podcast, man, use this as a guide. Just use this as a guide, man, because I know there's gonna be a lot more after me coming through this entrepreneurial journey. Um, so just remain educated. You know what I'm saying? Understand what's going on in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Understand what's going on over here. Understand what's going on in the business realm. Understand the difference between politics and business, and the difference between nationality and economics and politics. Understand this stuff, because when you understand this stuff, You get a better sense of how the current like actually flows. Like just you get a better understanding of the proper way to go about some of the things that you go about. So just like I said in that first bit video, man, just keeping yourself understanding of these things, man, and refueling that vehicle that you use in order to go about yourself and what you do. I'm speaking to myself too as I say on this. The natural skills, just like we said in the other podcast, man. The skills that you use in order to maintain yourself, because that's the vehicle that you use. Natural skills are important because that's the vehicle that you use in order to get to where you want to get to. From get create that abundance that you want to create, get to the destination. You know what I'm saying? So natural skills are the most important to make sure, you know what I'm saying, that you sustain yourself, regardless how difficult it is sometimes. This right here, man, this is yeah, man, this is it's tough, man. But man, I say, man, of course, keep grinding, keep doing what you do, man. But keep feeding back into yourself and keep being aware and knowledgeable of what's going on around you. That way you don't become susceptible to your environment and things like that, man. Knowledge is power. But anyway, man. Um yeah, man. Anyway, I want to make sure we hit all the points the points that we wanted to speak on today, especially regarding making that transition. So like if you're someone who's getting into being an artist or someone who's getting into one of these fields coming off of being an athlete, it's best to carve out yourself when you're in high school trying to figure out, instead of just going for the dream of just being a basketball player, it's best to play basketball, but at the same time on the off season craft out yourself, um explore some of those other things that you want to do as a person, because when you can do that, it actually prepares you better for the season. And what I mean by that is because it expands your mind. You would think that if I'm someone who just plays basketball all the time, working on the technical functions of the game, maybe at a young age this will work. But if I'm just someone who's always constantly in the gym, working out during the season and during the off season, during the school year, during you know what I'm saying, during the summer, I'm getting that much better than everybody else. But the fact is that you really, when you hit a certain age, after you learn the technical functions, you're really not getting too much better than everybody else. And what really makes the difference between you and the other person is your mind. Is your mind. And you know what I'm saying, and how creative you can get and how diverse um and versatile you can be in terms of um mentally. Like the game becomes mental once you hit a certain age, especially when you're training yourself. It's best, man, it's best to train yourself as a person and not as a machine. I hate to use that terminology, but damn. I say that though because when you train yourself, like, you know what I'm saying, you're not sustainable. Um, you're not sustainable. So, man, this is why I be so heavy on the natural skills, because this is what you are. You're training yourself in a way that you already are. Basically, you just enhancing yourself to fit the vision that's in store for you. So that's all you're doing. You're just enhancing your natural self to fit the vision that you're getting into. So with that being said, y'all, I think I'm gonna conclude this podcast, man. It's been nice checking up on y'all, man. I don't know. I might do these a little more frequently now. Instead of just doing once a week, I might do them twice a week. Um, but I'm gonna make sure I do these every week though. And like I said before, I'm definitely gonna hit y'all with one of them videos about the diet. And I'm gonna get some cooking videos for y'all too, man, so y'all can really see how that diet takes place. Changing the ingredients and not the recipes. See, that's the key to anything when you're trying to better yourself, man. Changing the ingredients and not the recipe. The recipes is already that's already fitted in your natural self. Like that's already become your natural routine. So it ain't you know what I'm saying? Ain't no change in the recipe. It's changing the ingredients. That's the misconception most people have, man. Anyway, I'm gonna conclude this podcast right here, man. Hope y'all learned something. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.